Okay, here we go again. I'm going to show you how to do a very quick image of the head of a hydrangea. So I've just got a piece of plain paper here. Now I've just got some very heavyweight cartridge here. You can use watercolour paper, whatever you please, and I've just mixed up some very watery yellow, cadmium yellow, and a little bit of hooker's green mixed with a cadmium yellow. This is watercolour, and I'm just going to take a sponge. Now if you haven't got a sponge that looks like this, any household sponge will do. If you haven't got any sponges, then you can use scrunched up paper, toilet paper or paper towels, anything like that. I'm just going to dip the end of the sponge into, and I'm just going to dab this, and we're going to create a very quick sort of blurry background using this cadmium yellow, and this is going to represent the foliage that's behind the hydrangea head. And the hydrangea is purple, and you may or may not have some in your garden at the moment. So if you have some, then go and have a look at them and just sort of observe the colours and the textures that are being created by this plant. Mine is purple, like I said, but they do come in a range of colours. I know I've got some in my garden that are white, so it would be better obviously if you chose a darker colour, because it'll stand out a little bit more. And we're just going to go in with a little bit of dark. This is just hooker's green, but any dark green will do. And that's it. That's all you need to do for your background. Wipe your sponge, wash your sponge off in clean water immediately and leave it somewhere nice to dry. Look after these sponges, they're very valuable. You can buy them from most art shops and places like Boots and things like that, so that's quite good. So this is still a little bit wet down here, but I'm going to put the head of the hydrangea here, which is drying off very quickly, so I'm just going to move on really quick. So the other technique I want to show you is just how to print a little bit with bubble wrap. So I've just got a piece of old bubble wrap here. Break it into manageable sections first of all, and sort of circular or ovally kind of, try not to have any points on your bubble wrap. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take a colour. So we've got a variety of purples here mixed up. I've used the purple out of my set and I've added some blue into one. I'm hoping you can see this. I've put some, so it's purple with a bit of blue, purple with a little bit of red, and then just the purple as it is. Now we're not going to use these because these are a bit watery. I've put water into them. What you need to use is the paint straight out of the pan or the tube or whatever you're using, and just a dampish brush but not too wet, and just paint the bubbles on the bubble wrap. Not too much paint on the bubbles, please, just because you'll find that it sort of runs out of control. So do a little sample, try it on a piece of paper first maybe, and you can just turn it over and then just press carefully, not too much, but just press carefully onto your surface like so. Now you can see where I've gone too heavy with the watercolour, but actually that's quite nice, and you can use it repeatedly to get slightly fainter bubbles like that. So you can see how it builds up quite lovely. And I even like the little bitty bits that come off. Bitty bits, that's a good term, isn't it? Yeah. So again, if you feel like you need more, then put some more on. Maybe do it a bit with a bit more, less water, and I'm just going to put a little patch down there, just of darker, like that. Okay, So there you have the undertone of your hydrangea head. To add some more depth and some more detail, I'm going to do the bubbles. These are hydrangeas that have got sort of bubbly bits in the middle and then petals on the outside. So I've got, like I said, I've got a little grip here. You could just use a piece of sellotape or whatever. And I've just put that around my 4 cotton buds. I've used these cotton buds before, you can see, but they were only used very simply and they've just dried out. So you don't necessarily need to throw your cotton buds away. And I'm just going to dip into one of the colours like that. Can you see? And then I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to put these, need a bit more, I think, bobbly shapes. Now these are just giving you a little bit more detail on a smaller scale. So just absorb. Now if you find mine are quite pale, if you find they're quite pale, then there's no reason why you can't go in and use the paint straight out of the pan again. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So I'm just going to put a few down there. This I'm just using the purple. I'm just going to take up some of the sort of reddy purple colour and just put a few blobs down there. You can see where the paper is still wet. I'm just going to hold off on that area because I don't want it to blend too much into my background. So you can see that building up now. I'm just using purple here. I'm just going to spread that out. There's a bit of plastic there. I'm just going to take that off. Oops. If you want to reduce the amount, then obviously just take them apart. Oh, that one's not so good. Let me just take the other one. Just going to dip them a little bit in water. And I'm just down to 2 now, just so that I can be a bit more precise in places. Or you can even just do 1. So like that, just so that you can get some nice defined areas in there, like that. Don't be frightened to use a variety of colours. This is just going to come over here. I might put some blue in actually, just in those bobbly bits. Again, don't overdo it. Just less is more, as we keep saying in the watercolour world. Okay, I'm going to do some blue now. So I've got some sort of cobalt blue here. I've still got the purple on my cotton bud, but it's just nice to have some bluey tones in and around some of the areas, just to sort of lift, especially if you haven't got a really bright purple like I haven't. Some people will have some lovely, and you can go into sort of pinky tones and things like that. Again, the colours are up to you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and the next thing is to put in some larger petals. So the larger petals you're just going to paint. So I'm going to use the purple again. I'm going to mix the purple with a little bit of that cobalt blue just to sort of lighten it up a bit. So that's purple with cobalt blue, and then we've got petals that look like this. So they're quite sort of, they vary in shape, as all petals do. So just pop them in like so. nice and light. Let's put one down here. This one might bleed a bit because it's still wet underneath, but we'll see. If you've got any rose madder or fuchsia colour, then use those colours to mix your colours for this flower. Again, it depends if you're looking at the real thing or if you're using this picture or an image off the internet. It really depends on what you're looking at as to what colours you'll go for. There's a little petal just poking its head up above there. Let's make it a little bit more on there. So I'm just going to go around those negative paint around those bobbles just to give it a little bit of structure. So you've got some petals behind and some petals in the foreground. There's also a petal coming off from a stem over here, so that gives it nice motion when it's coming off the composition. So don't be frightened of putting petals that are outside the paper edge. Just going to quickly build these up. If you've got a little bit more time, just be a bit more careful than I'm being with my petals. Go into detail a bit more. Vary the colour if you like that. But it's a nice little exercise to indulge in, especially on a wet, windy Welsh summer's day, as it is today. Ooh. Vary the tone of your petals here and there so that you get that feeling of some of them being forward and some of them being going away from you. Like so. Now, shall we do more? I think we'll have one more just in here somewhere, I think. Just go around a few of those bobbles like that. I'll just put another petal here. We'll have it going behind that one if we can, like that. Okay, the other thing to do is just put a little centre in there, just a bobble like that. And it will just give you a centre point to focus on. Oops, like that. And you can even put a few sort of descriptive lines coming off, especially the foreground petals, like so. Okay, so the next thing to do is just to put some stems in. I'm just going to use this green that I've mixed. The stems actually start off as purple, so come up here with the purple mark, go behind, take up some like that, go behind, go in there, maybe come down that way, down into a main stem, like so. Again, just loose descriptions of the possibility of being able to see some stems coming through those buds, like that. Don't go overboard with this. Then into the green, put it at the base and let it bleed into the purple. But again, it's a little bit wet down there, but actually that's working really nicely because it's just going to go off into a nice blurred outline. So, and then the last thing to do is just put on some leaves. So just take your yellow, a little bit of cadmium yellow, and put some leaves in. So just nice big leaves like this. Same, we'll put another one just coming off of that one, I think. Again, look at leaf shapes. Look at how they work when they go away from you and how they work when they come towards you. It's a really good exercise again, like that. I'm just going to have some more leaves coming on into the composition just from the outside. Just so that it looks like it's carrying on and it's not just an individual flower just in the middle of nowhere. So like that. Don't have to be defined, just a suggestion of a leaf is fine. Okay, I'm just going to put some more bubbles on, just because I want some to be added after the stems have been added, just to give that extra depth. But I think we're more or less there, really. You can fiddle with this as much as you like, but I think more or less there. I'm going to let this dry. I will put a finished picture online after. All right, enjoy it, have a play. See you later.